All right, so this is World Cup 2026 Extra Time. My name is Steven Rabinowitz. We're doing a review of just one game, and that's Brazil-Japan, which just ended, and it ended almost the exact same way, at least, that the South Africa-Canada game ended yesterday. A game that was in stoppage time, destined to go to the first extra time game of this knockout round of 32. That did not happen because Brazil scored at the death to win this game 2-1. Let's talk about it. Five things to note from this game. Number one, Brazil was very cautious in the first half at some point. They started out really well in this game, and then Japan kind of got a little bit of a 10-minute burst, and that led to Kaishu Sanu's goal in the Kaishu Sano's goal. I'm sorry, in the 29th minute. And it was a perfectly placed ball. It wasn't well struck at all, but it gave Japan the lead. That meant Brazil had to come back for the first time in a World Cup knockout game since 2002. This was the first time they ever were trailing in the knockout round to a non-South American and European team. And even though Brazil got a majority of this game, Japan pretty much attacked the most that they could in the first half. That's really the second thing. Brazil looked like a team that did not have that first half energy. They only scored one goal in the second half going into this game in their first three games. All of Japan's goals were in the second half. So that leads us to point number three. Japan was really fine to win 1-0, and that never really happened. It wasn't going to happen, but I felt more and more like Japan, whose expected goals in this game was 0.23. That's terrible. Because South Africa was about at that same point yesterday. Only had three chances created, only had two shots on target. And then Casemiro scores in the 56th minute. People were asking for him to be benched in the first half, and he wasn't. But by the time we got to the second half, Brazil, who ended up at one point, like right before that goal, had 17 crosses, and they didn't have more than 10 in any game before that. They were up in most of those games earlier than most, but here they had to work for it, and then they work for it, and then they have to go again. They did take their foot off the gas a little bit. This is point number four. I think at some point, Vinny Jr. almost scores like 3 minutes after that goal, after a stop by the goalie Suzuki. Suzuki was going to win or lose the game for them. I don't think that actually happened. I was like writing it down. I'm like, Suzuki, who was actually born in the United States, in New York, this is going to be his game to win or lose. That didn't really happen because it was really a defensive error that caused that final goal in this game. But gotta give Suzuki some credit on that shot. But Brazil pressed and pressed and pressed. They pretty much out possessed over 2-1 over Japan. In fact, more than 2-1. Yeah, more than 2-1. And this game was either Japan was going to win this game, they were going to have to win it in extra time. And Brazil made sure that they didn't go to extra time because, once again, super sub Gabriel Martinelli scores in the 90th plus fifth minute, pretty much with, I would say, less than 90 seconds to go, even though it sounded like it took a long time for them to get to extra time. And Brazil gets a deserved 2-1 victory. Good to come back from behind. That team looks still is going to be as dangerous as they can on offense. They can't afford to get to the slow start that they did today. Japan, tough defeat, heartbreaker. Some defensive errors, especially the second half, especially on that goal. A turnover led to that last chance that they ended up getting in extra time with that Martinelli goal. So Brazil moves on. They will play Sunday against the winner of Norway and Ivory Coast, who play tomorrow. Japan goes home. We will talk about the next two games at the end of the night. That would be Germany Paraguay, which kicks off about an hour from this when I'm taping this now. And then the big one, Netherlands and Morocco playing in Monterrey, a matchup that is going to be really, really interesting in the group stage. So we'll talk later on. World Cup 2026 Extra Time. You know the socials, Instagram, WCE Extra Time, Facebook and YouTube. World Cup 2026 Extra Time. We'll talk later.